Well, welcome to the ProBrick exclusive YouTube channel of Reverend Dr. Jason W. Morrison, theologist, otherwise known as ProBricky. Let's just get my page up. Here they are. There it is there. ProBricky Next Generation. Come on. There it is. ProBricky Next Generation. There's two boys there. If you're interested. I've got an interesting video today of a woman that I highly respect, and why wouldn't, she's a very good counsellor, one of the best. But I found an interesting story last night. I was just listening away of a night trying to learn him while I'm resting and sleeping, and this caught me. We're going to see something about her mind in this.
And that needs the affirmation and approval and that kind of stuff, but codependency has multiple sides, and we're going to talk about some of those other ways that it shows up in a sneaky way. So let's talk about my relationship, shall we? Let's look under the hood of the dysfunction and
this is gold, guys.
Lay it all out on the line and get you behind the scenes. Okay?
She's going to show us inside the female mind. Now listen to this, guys. It is absolute gold. Our scripture for today from the sacred text is plans of the godly are just, but the advice of the wicked is treacherous. The plans of the godly are just. In other words, these people will get you on the right path without bias, but the advice of the wicked is treacherous. It just goes along with anything. Okay, let's see what Heidi's got to say.
When I met this man, Sex and the City was really big on TV. Did you guys like Sex and the City? I loved that show. And I think I loved it so much because the guy that I was attracted to looked just like Mr. Big. He was very, very good looking guy. Extremely my type. In fact, I remember the first time I saw him at a nightclub called Wanda's back in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. That's where I was living. And I was like, oh my God, it was like the holy grail of people. Okay, he was gorgeous, everything. I had a height requirement back in those days. He was 6'4", man. Ticked all the boxes, right? And I remember when I would see him, I would get super nervous. I would get this feeling in the pit of my stomach that was like, oh my God, almost like throw up, almost like this intense anxiety when I would be around him. And I thought, oh, that must be true love. I guess that's what true love feels like, when you get the air knocked out of you and somebody makes you want to throw up. I guess in hindsight, Deb will know this, right? Deb, you know this. In hindsight, what is that? That is likely a trauma trigger. Hello? Likely a trauma trigger. And I didn't know at the time that when somebody creates that intense reaction in you that fires you up that way, that likely something in you is responding, knowing, uh-oh, it's about to go down. But I bypassed that, and I thought, no.
That doesn't make sense there for a minute. You can respond however you like to your butterflies in your stomach and all the rest of it. She obviously liked the guy, and it didn't matter what was going to happen. She was going to try and land him.
No, that must be attraction. That must be true love. I had no concept of what that was at the time. And so he didn't really notice me, which was another thing I was attracted to back then. You have to...
Do you get that, guys? When you... see, there's a little bit... This is a little bit hard to follow, but it all comes down to... It's not a matter whether you notice a woman or not. And it's not good to validate and pedestalize women or get too nosy with them. The point of this is, the mystery behind this is, if the woman likes you, the door is open. But you can't see from the outside whether a door's open. I remember going up to the kid's uncle's place and in Queensland, and we're just out. I was single at the time. We went out to his favourite Thai restaurant. I love going out with Uncle Robin, that up on the Sunshine Coast. And there was this girl sitting across the other table, and we locked eyes, right? Bang, locked eyes. I thought, hang on a sec. Left it, looked across again, locked eyes again. I've gone, this girl's on. She's 100% on. Hot looking lady. Looked across again, locked eyes, straight up out of my seat and straight over. And yeah. So you can tell if a woman's got eyes for you or not. And it doesn't matter what you have for them. If they like you, that's it. You can't make somebody move towards you if they don't like you. There's all these different strategies that men have got and all this to play the game. But the bottom line of it is, if the woman likes you, that's it.
To understand that this girl I had people that wanted to be with me. I had a lot of good men come into my life, and for men that are watching this as well, I love you. I love working with my men, so I don't want to.
Yeah, I'm not a hard. What you've got to realise is these ladies have what's known as orbiters. Even your girlfriend would have orbiters, men that are just floating around the outside. Letting her know that they're there and waiting to get their chance. And the problem with that is a lot of these women aren't attracted to these guys because they want the Chad. They want the bad boy, the one that's going to, the one that they like. Can you understand that? You're not necessarily liked by the way in which you tell them how beautiful they are, how wonderful they are. They don't like that stuff, man. It creeps them out. They will like you because they like you. And if they don't like you, they don't like you. And that could all depend on mood, where they're at on the night, where they are in their monthly cycle.
I think you to think I'm not including you, but so we all are included. But I remember thinking, I had a lot of attention and affection from men, but I was turned off by the ones that actually wanted me.
Guys, you've got to see this. I was turned off by the guys that actually wanted me. Can you see this?
I mean, I had such good guys come into my life before I met this last. Not that he's not a good guy, but I had guys that really wanted.
Oh no, he wasn't a good guy. He was a bad guy. He was way out of her league. And that's the guy that she wanted. I've known women that have been destroyed by these guys.
To be with me, and they would shower me with attention and affection and appreciation, and I would go, ew, ugh.
Are you getting this, guys? This is why I brought this up. This is gold.
Too much, dude. What are you doing? Right? Ugh, you like me too much. I would get turned off by their desire for me.
See, women can get turned off by your desire for them. Guys, I can't communicate what she's saying. She's telling you flat out. I'm even going to play that again, man.
Oh, likely a trauma trigger. And I didn't know at the time that when somebody creates that intense reaction in you that fires you up that way, that likely something in you is responding, knowing, it's about to go down. But I bypassed that. And I thought, no, that must be attraction. That must be true love. I had no concept of what that was at the time. And so he didn't really notice me, which was another thing I was attracted to back then. You have to understand that this girl I had people that wanted to be with me. I had a lot of good men come into my life. And for men that are watching this as well, I love you. I love working with my men.
But she just had to have the bad boy. And fair enough. But I bet she learnt from it.
So I don't want you to think I'm not including you, but so we all are included. But I remember thinking, I had a lot of attention and affection from men, but I was turned off by the ones that actually wanted me.
And guys, that's why, my last girlfriend, I liked being with her and everything, but I didn't have any desire to try and convince her of something that she wasn't.
I had such good guys come into my life.
See, they'll have orbiters everywhere, guys.
Before I met this last, not that he's not a good guy, but I had guys that really wanted to be with me. And they would shower me with attention and affection and appreciation. And I would go, ew, ugh, it's too much, dude. What are you doing? Right? Ugh, you like me too much. I would get turned off by their desire for me.
Can you get that? I would get turned off by their desire for me. This is absolute gold.
At the time, I thought, well, you just can't help who you're attracted to, right? It just is what it is. But I know now that was my own fear of intimacy. I was rejecting the people that had a good shot at being intimate with, and not being rejected by or not being abandoned by. But my fear of abandonment, rejection, and intimacy would only allow me at the time to be attracted to the men who were a sure bet to abandon, reject, and withhold intimacy.
There you go, guys. There you go. There you go, guys. They all learn the hard way. They end up with 2 or 3 children to different blokes. Oh, gold. Absolute gold.
Boom. Mic drop. Okay. Big was good looking. Yes, he was to me. So whenever I met him, he didn't really notice me
But let me just say, guys, good looks are only skin deep, and that goes for women too.
that much. And maybe you can relate to this. So a big part of a crazy making relationship is when you go into it, and maybe you've done this, attempting to a backdoor attempt at proving your value. And for me, he had just gotten out of a past relationship and was still hurting from that past relationship. Well, hey, I'm like a coach. I like know people. I'm a psychology person. So my in with him was to help him through.
And I'll finish it there, but this is just typical of what they do, guys. It's just typical of how they get messed up in their lives. And try and avoid it yourself. Don't rescue people. Leave them where they are. The plans of the godly are just. In other words, you think things through clearly. And the advice of the wicked is treacherous, which was what she was just talking about. She just followed the way she felt and didn't end well for her at all. This is Reverend Dr. Jason W. Morrison, theologist, on the Pro Bricky exclusive YouTube channel. We'll catch you on the next one.